Welcome to the vlog. Hi, my name is Autumn. I'm a reader and a writer, and today is going to be a pretty heavy writing vlog. I've got my tea steeping. We're gonna hear the timer go off in about 3 minutes. Today, I actually have a writing sprint scheduled with Sarah a little bit later at 6 p.m. It's about 2:30 now. However, I do want to sit down and write by myself for an hour before I meet Sarah tonight, before we do our writing sprints. It's been a really long time since I've actually written with somebody else, and I've hosted a live stream. So I feel like there are gonna be some emotions while I'm on camera, and I don't know if I'll actually be able to concentrate and get a lot of writing done. I wanna do what I can a little bit beforehand. It's been maybe about a week since I have worked on my story. In my last video, I hadn't quite finished reworking Act 1 in my second draft, which I am re-outlining. Since then, I have completed Act 1. Hang on, let me go grab my tea. I felt like this mug was appropriate for this video. Green tea, I love it piping hot, and then I put a little ice cube in it. What I've been working on since my last update, so I have been working through Act 1, restructuring the story and making sure all of like the main plot points get hit. I think I had talked about that this story has turned into a much larger story than when I initially wrote the first draft a few years ago. Not that I'm upset about it, but I think that when I originally wrote this story, I didn't quite understand the characters and what I wanted to actually happen in the story. You know, I feel like the underlying like message, the theme was very much lacking, but that's expected with a first draft. So it's the responsibility of the second draft to tighten up those things, to find the themes, to find the plot, to find like the core message of the story, and then work on that to try and make that show. So that's what I've been doing since I've been working on the second draft, but doing the outline of it. I have finished Act 1 and I feel really confident about Act 1. In Act 2, I need to make sure that some of the things that are mentioned in Act 1, that I'm reiterating those in Act 2 or implementing those things in Act 2. So I think Act 2 is going to be a little bit more of like a heavier beast. And so what I've decided to do with Act 2, and I think this is mentioned, I have to maybe confirm this later. In Save the Cat, I think Act 2 is split up into like Act 1, like part 1, and then Act 2, part 2. I have seen that somewhere, and I think it's in the beat sheet in Save the Cat. If not, I've seen it somewhere, and I can't remember where I've seen it. Long story short, I'm trying that method because I feel like it works with my brain right now and with the story. That's what I'm going to be working on in this video. I don't know if I'm going to be setting like a hard set goal of, hey, I want to finish Act 2 in this vlog. I don't really know if I want to do that. I don't want either of us to be disappointed if and when that doesn't happen. I am going to be taking my time working through the plot points, restructuring, working on Act 2. We're gonna take as much time as we need to work on Act 2, all of the beats, making sure we're hitting all of the things. I need to revisit some of the characters and make sure that the characters and their arcs are set with how the plot is going in the story. But there are a few characters I'm still trying to debate if they are significant to the story. I feel like there are some characters that might be able to be merged or completely axed. So I don't know if I'm going to be working on that either. But just some things for both of us to keep in mind is I think that there are going to be some characters in here that need to be merged, or maybe their plot points don't really make sense, their character arcs don't really make sense. Those are the main things that I'm going to be focusing on with this draft. There is a lot of world building in this story, and there's a magic system. As much as I want to just sit here and love on the world and love on the magic system, those things will come in time. I need to make sure that the plot makes sense and these characters, you know, are not cookie cutter. They're not like ridiculous characters, people that like don't really make sense in this world, but then I feel like everything else is going to flow. You know, I think it will all come later, like the world building and the magic. That's what I mean. Not that those things aren't important, I just don't think that they're important at this particular moment. I can always manipulate the world or like tweak the world a little bit, or maybe play around with the magic system. If I'm trying to find a plot point that works, I don't want to limit myself and say, oh, well, this is my hard set magic system. This can't happen. Okay, well, how can I pull a Brandon Sanderson and make this happen? So that's what I am going to be working on with this draft. Thank you so much for being my support team. Even though I feel like this last year has been a little crazy with my uploading schedule, we're gonna slowly work back writing in and slowly work back in YouTube. So good morning. Let's talk about what I worked on yesterday. I feel like I have cereal in my teeth. I ended up working a little bit on Act 2. I guess I should pull my notes up so we can have the notes in front of me as I'm explaining everything. I did 2 pretty solid writing sprints. I did one by myself and then I did the one with Sarah. I felt like I was very productive. I am working on the key main plot points. The story is told in multiple POVs. So these characters are all spread throughout the world. What I've been trying to do is keep like the main plot, like the overarching what is actually happening, and alternating different character perspectives and where they're at in the world, what is going on there that ultimately is tied in to that main plot. There are certain things that are happening in this world, like natural disasters or like plagues breaking out, and people are tying that back to the gods are not happy. Why is this happening? Then we have our different characters who are experiencing different things. Some of them have met each other in chapters here, and other ones are like across the world, so obviously they haven't really met. To have all of this going on to, explain the story, to explain everything, I feel like there's a lot of moving pieces. But what I was working on yesterday is what's happening in this part of the world. Why are these things happening? Does this follow that main overarching plot of the story? How can I tie it back? I've been putting just a few sentences down for each of those beats using the beat sheet. However, I don't know if you follow Save the Cat Writes a Novel. I've got it right here with a pen inside. There are some beats and some scenes that can be multiple scenes. There are multiple scenes in, for example, the break into Act 2. That has 1, 2, 3, 4 chapters, or at least 4 different perspectives that are going on to break into Act 2 to answer the questions that are part of breaking into Act 2 and really creating that separation from where we were in Act 1 and that hard turn into now we're in Act 2, we're working backwards. So in Act 1 we're working towards this particular point, and now everything from Act 2 to the end of Act 2 we're like doing the reverse. There's a part in here that I worked on yesterday, and I'll be totally honest, I don't think I like it. I don't want to do this thing to my character, but it has to happen. Yesterday I was working on this one POV. I was trying to be too good to my character, and I was trying to come up with an easier solution. But the thing is the easier solution just doesn't make sense for this character, for what's happening in this part of the world. I am going to have to do what I don't want to do for the good of the story and the characters. Well, it's not going to be for the good of the characters, even though I don't want to do it because I don't like writing about these particular things. I don't like reading about these particular things. The thing is we've got to do it. Okay, like it's just as plain as that. Unless I can find another solution that I feel like fits in the world, fits this character, and makes sense, we're gonna have to do it. I have a little sticky note here that says I need to review the midpoint and the STG notes. Oh, Save the Cat. So I was like, what is that? What does STG notes mean? So I need to look back over what I'm doing for the midpoint. So I know I was talking about break into Act 2, and now I'm talking about the midpoint. But I think I'm gonna have to rework a few things that happened leading up to the midpoint. I hate to do it because I just don't like writing about these particular topics, but we got to rip the band-aid off. It's going to fit the story. It's going to make sense. It's going to justify how this world is, because even though it's high fantasy, there are high stakes, there's political intrigue, there's things like that in this story, the event that I have now does not align with how I want this world to be viewed. So I have to change it to what I don't want it to be personally, to justify the build up, to justify what I've been saying this whole time. It's a great opportunity to prove that point. It's gonna get messy, which I'm here for messy. I am here for messy. Just I don't like to write the mess. And today I'm gonna have to backtrack a little bit to fix that. It's about 8:30 now. I don't know how long I want to write today. I blocked off until noon to write, and I knew I wanted to write in the morning. After my writing sprints yesterday, I wanted to jump right back into writing. I didn't want to have to do other obligations. It is about 10:15 and I'm gonna go ahead and call it. I feel really good about what I was working on today. I worked through what we were talking about earlier, tweaked it a little bit. I didn't exactly go with like what I said I was like feeling in my gut, because I do think what I was working through, and I guess maybe like my mindset that I had, like the intentions I had with that scene are, you know, just deal with it. And that's not the case. I have thought about the effects of this scene or that plot line with what I was talking about with that character. I think the way I have it, it can make for an interesting twist in the story. I'm going to keep it. I'm gonna keep it for now. I wrote out the game plan for the next few chapters, wrote down some sentences about the main plot. If you follow the beat sheet, if you know anything about Save the Cat, I just finished the All Is Lost. So the next time I will come back and write, it's going to be Dark Night of the Soul. I feel pretty good about what's been happening, the choices that the characters are making to get to the dark night of the soul of this story. So our main character too, at this moment, she is conflicted. There's this prophecy and she's supposed to be this great queen. There's some other like magic and some other mysteries to this prophecy. Now she's conflicted. In this story, some things are revealed to characters in dreams. I don't want it to seem like all of the important information comes to these people in dreams, because that's not the case. There's a lot of they're discovering these things as they move throughout the story and experience the world, but there are certain parts of the story where things are mentioned in dreams. And I'm kind of funny about that, like as a reader, liking information being given to us as dreams, but these dreams that these characters are having, they're all having very similar dreams. Whatever this is, whatever is trying to contact these people through dreams, it's all kind of like the same. I'm trying to keep those scenes with the dream information to a minimum, but when we are presented with that information, it's like reiterating the question that we're all trying to figure out. I'm trying to use that as a tool to add intrigue, but also reiterating this is going to be important later on. I feel pretty good with this outline for draft 2. It still needs a lot of work. There are still some questions that I myself don't know the answers to. Like there's a lot of why questions, like why does this matter? Why is it happening this way? Why can't another character do this? Or why is it this person that has to be this? I will say, I love the chosen one trope, but there has to be a logical reason why we're choosing this person, or why I'm choosing this main character, and why somebody else can't do this task. I'm aware that these questions aren't 100% answered right now, but my theory to myself is when I'm finished with outlining this second draft, as I'm writing, I can kind of answer those questions when I'm starting to expand on the world and to expand on the characters and the plot. We're still in the rough stages of working through this story, so I'm not going to have the answers to all of that, and it's fine, but I think it's important to also realize I don't have the answers to those questions right now. I don't think I'm going to be able to write anymore today. I did as much as I could. I feel really great about it. I made decent progress that I'm pretty proud of. We're going to sign off for today, and I will see you guys whenever I sit down to write again. I have some time blocked off later this week to get some writing in. We'll just have to see what happens. So it's a new day. I think in my last clip I was wearing the same shirt, but nonetheless, it's a new day. I have spent the majority of today doing nothing but schoolwork, doing tons of research, and my head feels like it's about to explode. It's a little past 5 now, and I have my book club meeting around 6. It might be pushed a little bit later today, but book club is for Red Rising by Pierce Brown. Absolutely hated it. I think I gave it a 1.5, maybe a 2 star, but I can't wait for the book discussion because I think we're going to be a divided house on this one. For the last couple of days, I have been working, and so I have obviously not been writing at all. What I want to do until we have our book club meeting is write. I have no updates to really give you guys because nothing has happened. I just need to escape from what I've been working on, you know, doing a lot of schoolwork, really heavy, like thinking, creating maps, finding data for mortality rates for diabetes. I need a break. I need a break. We're gonna spend the next hour or so writing. Again, no further updates other than here we go, going to sit down, do as much as I can. I really just want to get back into the world, start thinking about it a little bit more. Even if I don't actually make a whole lot of progress, that's totally fine. I just kind of want to exercise that writing muscle and shut my brain off from doing all of this intense thinking of work and data and all of that, and think more creatively at the moment. Oh, hello! My cat is up there. I was looking for him. You see him? He's right there. Alright, so I am calling it quits for this writing session. Honestly, I don't think it was too successful. I showed up, I did what I could, but I feel still a little burnt out from everything else that I did today. It's not the writing's fault, it's not my fault, it's just where I was at today. I finished the All Is Lost. I had one more POV I wanted in this beat. I have two characters that are like good versus evil. I feel like John Gwen's The Faithful and the Fallen did this very well, where there was a particular plot point where plot in the story where you didn't quite know who was good and who was bad. I really enjoy it. I like reading about it. I think it's a really cool concept. So it's something that I have been thinking about. I wanted to include in my story. Not stealing ideas from anybody, just putting that out there. So in the All Is Lost, one of these two characters, one of them is going to have the high and then one of them is going to have the low, but I want them both to have the All Is Lost. I had to go back to one of these characters to try and figure out, okay, where would this character be in this beat, in this moment of the story? While I don't know if it's 100% perfect, once we're knee deep swimming through the draft, we can try and beef it up. And then I wrote one POV in The Dark Night of the Soul. This is going to be the other character. She's been hinted at, where is your stance? Like, who are you in this prophecy? So this character is having that moment and she is choosing whether or not she believes in herself or she believes in what has led her to this point, and then her decision that she's going to make to finish the story, right? You know, to get us to the end, she's gonna make her choice. I have a little bit to go before I'm finished with The Dark Night of the Soul, and then that looks like it's the end of Act 2, which will make sense. It's all lining up with Save the Cat, with the beats where I want everything to be for when we get into Act 3. Alright, so it has been a couple of days since I have worked on my writing because I worked literally the last 2 days, Wednesday and Tuesday. So it's Thursday now. I have some free time and I want to do some writing. We're mixing up our writing space right now and I am going to be writing on the couch for a little bit. The goal is to make a little bit more progress. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to actually be able to finish outlining Act 2 for Draft 2. I am certainly going to try my best, and you're crooked, sorry, there we go. I'm going to give myself about an hour and 20-ish minutes to do whatever writing I can get done in this amount of time. I am really trying to be a lot more intentional with my writing sessions. Y'all, it's an hour and a half later. I finished outlining my story and I'm actually really happy with myself. There was a twist that was perfect that I did not see coming. I am incredibly proud of it. I'm just being totally honest. I cannot wait to actually write the words on the page for this book. I was not expecting to complete the outline today or really honestly anytime soon. I really cannot get over that last twist there. I know I've talked about this story in the past where I'm like, I know the ending of the story. Let's be honest, I just changed it, and I think it's a lot stronger than what I was originally wanting. That original ending that I had, I feel like it felt very predictable. It felt very much like the story was going in that direction, and not like there's anything wrong with stories. You can tell that that's the way it goes. This ending that I have right now, I feel like it takes the story to the next level. I was using Save the Cat there throughout this entire thing, but for Act 3, it's only 3 beats, but the finale is broken up into 5. I think it was the finale was broken up into 5 points. Yes, the finale. She calls it the 5-point finale. It was in that moment that I felt like the setup that I had throughout the entire story was literally perfect for that twist at the end. It makes sense. That leads me to the conclusion of this vlog to say I finished outlining draft 2. So what comes next? I have no idea. Other than what I have like a game plan in my head of what I'm thinking I want to do. I want to take everything I wrote in my Excel spreadsheet and put it in a Google Doc. Now, I am not going to reuse the first draft. I'm creating a new draft for this story since it's changed so much, and now that it's going to be multiple point of views, it just makes sense for the story to be rewritten in a new draft, in a new document. I'm going to take all of those main plots, all the points that I just put in the Excel sheet, I am going to put that into the outline. Then I'm going to slowly start to build off of it. For each of those chapters, see where those subplots can fit with those point of views, because I do want there to be some subplots. I feel like it's going to be a little crazy and it might be a little chaotic, but I'm quite literally going to copy and paste the Excel, work on character development, what characters are going to be in what chapters, even if it's not from their POV, who do I want to introduce here? You know, what is going to be happening here? Get like the big picture things in this draft and like the overarching things, the plot, the subplots and things like that. And then I am going to slowly work on beefing it up and working on the details. But I guess what you can expect in my next writing vlog, I will be working on drafting the second round of this story, which is very exciting. I have no timelines for anything. I don't know how long it's going to take me to do this. I am just going to enjoy the process. Thank you so much for coming along with me on my writing journey, sticking with me until the very end. I appreciate it. You have no idea, absolutely no idea what it means to me. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. I will see everybody in my next video very soon.